Do you want to build Sephiroth or VIVI without breaking the bank? Well, I have some ideas for you. Hello everybody and welcome back into the fort. My name is Tyler Savesya Bucks and I am here to do just that. I'm going to try and save you bucks because a lot of people want to build around the new Final Fantasy cards, but those pre-sale prices are astronomical. This is one of the craziest pre-sales I've ever seen for cards, random cards being over $5, $10 just because of the IP, but do not fear because I want to make your dreams of building around some of these characters come true. And let's take a look at the character that's on everybody's lips right now, VIVI. VIVI is 1 blue and a red for a wizard, 0/3 that says 0. Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is VIVI's power. Activate only during your turn and once each turn. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on VIVI and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this card is pre-selling for $60, $70, $80, and even more so for the cool showcase frame version of it. But what we can do to kind of save some of that money, because you'll be spending all of it on the face commander, is doing some strategies around it that aren't as popular. Of course, you can throw a bunch of great spell slinger cards in the deck like you will see a lot of in EDHREC for this commander. But what if we do some pump spells? What if we do a little bit of VIVI Voltron? And let's take a look at what that could look like. Easy for me to say, with Kindled Heroism, which is a 1 mana spell, giving the creature +1/+0, and then you scry 1. So remember, with VIVI, you're going to get a counter on it as well. So that's basically +2, and you're scrying 1. Not impressed yet. Let's look at another one, which is kind of the big brother of that spell. Titan Strength, 1 red as well, for +3/+1, and scry 1 for that. Much better, I believe Kindled Heroism at least gives first strike, but still, what you're trying to do is pump up that power as much as possible, and Titan Strength is going to give you 4 because of that counter, remember. Another one, Fists of Flame. You're going to draw a card and then get +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn in a deck which has a lot of cantrips. You're probably going to be drawing a lot of cards, and that's going to bump those stats up even more. We have Blazing Crescendo, not necessarily card draw, but it does give +3/+1, and then you exile the top card, which can help you keep spinning into the next spells. Then we have Ancestor's Aid. It gives +2 and I believe first strike as well. And then it also gives you a treasure. Because of that treasure, it can help you then feed into some more of these pump spells. And then Bulk Up. I might be a little biased because of my article series on EDHREC called Bulk Up, but it is a great card for this deck. Doubling the power of VIVI, if you've been able to chain some of these spells together, could be very, very, very powerful. Not only to punch through, because VIVI can attack if you're going this strategy, but also to dump into big spells with that mana ability that VIVI has. And let's take a look at a big spell that's a budget option. Right here with Electro Dominance, it is X, red for an instant, deals X damage to any target, and you may cast a spell with mana value X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Super impactful when it comes to this deck if you have a whole bunch of mana that you can use with VIVI's ability, and then be able to do this. Maybe even take a player out and cast something from your hand all in the process. That's a great little crescendo. I know we already looked at Blazing Crescendo, but this is a real crescendo. And then the last card, a little bit expensive, but if you're spending almost $70, $80 on the commander, I feel like $5 or $6 on a Crackle with Power isn't too bad. XXX, red. Crackle with Power deals 5 times X damage to each of up to X targets. If you're able to build your commander up massively, have a whole bunch of mana you're able to spend with VIVI, all of a sudden Crackle with Power can just decimate people's fields or even their life totals, and it might be a good card to splurge on. Moving on to another card you're going to be spending a lot of money on, I know you. It is Sepharroth, Fabled Soldier. This is so far the second most built commander from Final Fantasy on EDHREC. It is 2 and a black. When it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. And then it has basically, I believe, exactly Blood Artist text. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then if this is the 4th time this has happened, he transforms into Sephiroth, 1-winged angel. It gives you an emblem, which we don't often see on creatures. And the emblem does the same thing that the face side of Sephiroth does. And then whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of creatures if you do draw that many cards. So super, super strong. And of course, you can put a lot of really expensive cards in this deck, but something I would like people to focus on are cards that make tokens, because if you're making a lot of tokens, when Sephiroth comes down, you could sacrifice 1 and maybe a few of your tokens died in combat, and all of a sudden you can flip Sephiroth. I don't want people to necessarily, unless they can really turbo, through their strategy, think of Sephiroth as coming down on turn 3. Because people don't want that flip to happen. So if you set up your board a little bit and then drop Sephiroth later on turn 5, 6, and sacrifice something when he enters, and then sacrifice a bunch of stuff to flip it almost immediately, I think that is the way to go. So let's take a look at a newer card, Venerated Stormsinger. It does a very similar thing to Sephiroth with draining and everything, but it has mobilize. So when this attacks, you're going to be making a token, which will die on your end step. And again, if other creatures have died, Sephiroth might flip on your end step, which would be very clutch. There's another one of these cards with Mobilize that's in mono black as well. There's only 3 or so. You could throw the other one in there. I kept it away from this list, but Avenger of the Fallen made it, which is 3 mana, 2/4, Death Touch, Mobilize X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So again, you can make, you're probably sacrificing a bunch of stuff, so you can make a whole bunch of tokens to attack through. And then on your end step, when those creatures sacrifice themselves, you could flip Sephiroth relatively easy. Let's look at another older card, Sengir Autocrat. 4 mana, when it enters, you make 3 black surf creature tokens. And then when this creature leaves, sacrifice all serfs. This card puts a lot of bodies on the board that allows you, again, to be at the spot where Sephiroth can come down and you can try and flip it as soon as possible. There's also Chittering Witch, which is also 4 mana. When enters, you make a rat for each opponent you control. Each opponent you have, you can control them too. And then you can pay some mana to sacrifice a creature and give a creature -2/-2. Again, that is a 1 body that comes with 3 more bodies that you can then be sacrificing and feed into flipping Sephiroth as fast as you can. Woe Strider will help with that as well. Enters, makes you a goat, and also it has the Viscera Seer text where you can sacrifice a creature to scry 1. So again, if you have this whole board, Sephiroth comes down, you can sack and scry as much as you would like. Believe it or not, an uncommon from a Jumpstart set is one of the more expensive cards that I'm listing today. It's over $1. It's Wriggling Grub. Really, really great for 2 mana that, it's just a creature, but then when it dies, you make 2 tokens. So again, this could be on the field. Sephiroth can come down, sacrifice it. Now you have 2 more bodies that you can do your sacrifice synergies with right away. Now, when it comes to trying to flip Sephiroth, with on-board sacrifice and everything else, we are set up and in a good spot for that. However, if we want to help it along a little bit more, we can put a card like Innocent Blood into the deck, which is 1 black. Each player sacrifices a creature. So just 1 black. That would trigger Sephiroth right away because he'll come down, you'll sacrifice a creature that's 1, and then 1 mana each player. You're actually, I think, at 5 at that point if you're playing a 4-player game because you're sacrificing as well. So right away for 1 mana, you can flip Sephiroth, which is very nice. And then if you want to staple on a little bit more value onto flipping, you can do Plumb the Forbidden, which is 1 and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. When you do, copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way, and you draw 1 card and lose 1 life. So again, if you have all those serfs out or something like that, you drop Sephiroth, you sacrifice something, and then you Plumb the Forbidden, sacrifice the rest of the stuff that you need to then draw a bunch of cards, flip Sephiroth, and do it right away before anybody can do anything about it. Very, very nice combo because, like I said, a little bit telegraphed, but if you set up this board with a lot of little threats, it's harder for people to pick off specific things unless they do some type of big board wipe, but hopefully you get Sephiroth down before that, flip it, and go into the end game. If you want to look up more strategies that are similar to this when it comes to VIVI, look up on EDHREC Zada Hedron Grinder decks. That's a lot of cantrip spells. You cast target Zada, it copies everything. There's going to be a lot of good combat tricks on that page for VIVI. And then when it comes to Sephiroth, I would look at EDHREC Sayer. This is one that makes a bunch of, what are they? They're thralls. Makes a bunch of thralls when you cast creature spells, but the list for that commander on EDHREC is filled with a bunch of ways to utilize those tokens. So I would suggest going and checking out EDHREC's page as well if you're looking to go that route with Sephiroth. So again, quicker video, just trying to get some more budget ideas out there into the wild, because I don't want, if you happen to pull this card or you finally save up to buy the card, that the price is just going to limit you from making the entire rest of the deck. So hopefully this helped you with building some very popular commanders, and let me know if I helped you in the comments below. I will see you guys here next time in the fort. Goodbye.